I see people.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Robyn from Skin Typics, and today I have with me the ever-inspiring, amazing Jennifer Brodeur, who is the mastermind behind our amazing Max LED device. And we're using this in Skin Typics in the clinic to create amazing, phenomenal results. So if you have had LED, pop your hand up, get into the comments and tell us how much you love it, because it is just the most amazing treatment. So the amazing Jennifer is a cosmetic formulator. She's an expert in skin analysis and oncology aesthetics. Thank you for joining us, Jen. It's so lovely to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Your experience is vast and great, and your experience has led you to be one of the most trusted skin advisors and sought after experts in the Hollywood community as well. So you are the skin strategist for Miss Oprah Winfrey and Michelle Obama. So that is just an amazing accolade for you, and I just think that just speaks so highly of how wonderful and how amazing you are and your talent. So thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you about all things skin, LED, and all of your wisdom on life. So your work with LED is just innovating and inspiring. So I'm excited to share your knowledge with everybody that's here with us today.
This is going to be great. This is great. I've been looking forward to this all week. So
awesome. So have I. I couldn't sleep last night. I was so excited. So we have so many people joining us this morning. So for those of you who are watching, make sure you comment, because we can see all your comments popping up. Hi, Brooke. Here you are. Oh, we've got heaps of comments. Thank you.
Is there.
So tag a friend who you think would love to join us on this conversation, because the more people that see this, the merrier, because we've got so much great news to share. And if you are at work and you're sneaking a peek at this interview, make sure you share this interview to your timeline now, so you can come back and sneak a peek when your boss has gone out for a coffee. So it's all about the sneakiness around here. So Jennifer, we have two of your amazing, wonderful LED devices in our clinic, and the results that we get from this machine is just phenomenal. The skin transformation is just like no other device that I've seen. So what I want to do is have a chat with you about LED technology, how it works, why it works, and get to know your perspective on what we need to look for with LED. So can you tell us what is Max, and why should every woman have this in her treatment plan?
With pleasure. So Max is an interesting device, because when he was created back in 2003, there was nothing like it in the world. We were the first device to have what we call the polychromatic treatments. And I remember back then lecturing and people thinking I was completely crazy, that this would never work. Fast forward 15 years later, we're talking about, finding LED all over, from the drugstores to online. And this is where it gets confusing, because there's a side of that that's exciting, because you think everyone's talking LED. But there's a downside to that, because a lot of these devices are emitting a lot of heat. And so when Max was created, the idea behind it was to have a device that was what we call a photobiochemical effect, right? So it's the wavelength that's absorbed that creates excitement within a cell, that gives off the heat and energy to the adjacent cells. But by doing so in a non-ablative way, in a non-thermal way, it makes that the skin stays healthy, right? It's non-ionizing, it's not dangerous. The minute a device will emit a bit of heat, that's where we've got to be a little bit more cautious. So Max was really designed to be safe to use for everyone, and in any treatment, whether it be a standalone or incorporated in a dermovisual facial, so to speak.
Wonderful. So when you talk about polychromatic wavelengths, to everybody who's watching, what that means is that there's different colors of light that you will see going over your skin. And the Max device, which I love, has all of those incorporated in a treatment. So could you, Jennifer, explain what each of those wavelengths or colors is doing and having that therapeutic cellular impact or creating change in the skin?
Yeah, and so each wavelength, or each color, so to speak, has a very different effect on each cell. So it would be great if we could say that one wavelength would do everything, but it's physiologically impossible. So for example, if we were to take the key from my home, if Robyn was to fly to Montreal today and take her keys to come into my home, it wouldn't work, right? And so it's really about having that right discussion with the right cells. So we start with a 415 nanometer, plus or minus 2, which means it goes to 417 or 413 violet light, and we go all the way to near infrared. So to be very quick about the wavelengths, so our violet will kill acne-causing bacteria and it stops proliferation, which is wonderful, but it ensures that the rest of your skin stays intact, right? Which is lovely. So you're not killing all of the skin tissue. So you're really focusing on the bacteria. We have a 450 nanometer wavelength as well that works with intercellular communication, and it helps relax the muscles. So for example, if you were under red light, that's more of a rejuvenating, kind of agitating kind of wavelength, whereas blue is very relaxing. We also have a 525 nanometer, which is green, that helps with redness within the skin. It helps the angiogenesis process as well. We also have a 590 in Max, which is our amber yellow light. This is my go-to. So any pre-red carpet, weddings, speaking engagements, anytime ladies or men you want to glow, that yellow light is my it's my go-to for everyone, anything celebrity-wise. And then we have a 633 nanometer red, which helps with the collagen production, works with the mitochondria as well. And then we've got an 830 nanometer, which is near infrared. So it's not the far infrared that is creating more of that heat. It's really a near infrared. So just slightly in there, and it really helps with the inflammatory. So it's a great wavelength to use for people with rosacea and lots of inflammation as well.
I love it. And I'm with you. The yellow is my favorite. It's just, it brings skin to life. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's very special.
So if we're talking about colored light, why can't I just lay under my Christmas tree lights that flash all different colors? What is it about the bulbs and wavelengths that make an LED treatment a treatment for skin, and not just laying under something with pretty lights? Because there are a lot of LED machines out there that just are colored lights, but they're not going to have the result. Why do you need a specific bulb and wavelength?
Well, so this is great. So each wavelength, we seem to think color, right? So if you think the colors of the rainbow, but it's actually that specific wavelength that will have an effect with the skin, right? So once it's absorbed by the cells, there's a physiological change. But if the wavelength is not what we call the bind or very specific, so for example, if I say acne bacteria, we're talking about a 450 nanometer, but my wavelength is too broad, your wavelength oscillates, right? It doesn't stay, the dominant wavelength is not always on.
Yeah,
and so it's sort of like playing darts, but you're never hitting the target, you're everywhere else but, or you're trying to pin the tail on the donkey, but you're putting it on the head all the time. So that's what your average LEDs are like. And so at the end of the day, what happens is it seems to be that the minute something becomes effective, or we see there's a result, everyone wants to jump in on this wagon of let's do LED. And so in your mind, you're like, well, if it's blue light, let's just put blue light, or it looks like it might green. So no one is specifically really testing it out there, I would think. And we're seeing a lot of heat. And so we've been playing around right now with a thermal camera. And this camera is wonderful. So we're actually able to see how much heat is emitted off the skin, because this is becoming an issue. Because if you're doing anything that will emit too much heat on the skin, you could have a photobiochemical response, but also photosensitizing afterwards if the LEDs are not, safe to be used. And this is where it's changed, because in 2003, I could say LED is safe for everyone. Now it'll be dependent on the device that you're working with and the wavelengths they're working with. So some of the LEDs are also going in the UV wavelength spectrum, which could be touchy. If you're doing microdermabrasion or peels, it could be a really bad thing to happen. So it's
and we always because we always tell clients if they're having those invasive treatments to not have any sun exposure. But then if in clinic they're having those treatments and then they're getting put under an LED that could be in that UV wavelength, it's just such a recipe for disaster.
It is. Yeah. And we're seeing it in Canada. In Canada right now, there's a lot of very interesting things going on in regards to LED and Health Canada. And it really is because of that reason. It really is. So it'll be fun to see what we come up with over the next few months. And my thermal camera we're having fun.
Amazing. Because it's all interesting things.
Yeah, it's all about the heat that the skin gives off post LED treatment, and you don't want that.
So What would you recommend, or what can we as clients ask the therapist? So if you're not at Skintifics and not having a Max LED, what is a question that you could ask the treating therapist that would help you to understand whether that particular LED device is going to be safe and also therapeutic and have the correct wavelengths and the correct wavelength variants? What should we be asking to get an indication?
It's really hard. The first question I would ask is why they're doing LED and how it'll help my skin type of thing. Sort of like, why are you using LED on me? And what's the program, or what wavelength are you using? Sadly enough, most people won't really know the answer to that. But I try to shy away from, and I'm not saying that all of them are created equally. So just in case anybody gets upset with me, I'm not trying to say that one is, but I find that a lot of the very big panels that are very, very close to the skin are something to really ask questions about. So there are some on the market that are good and they're well designed and well done, but other ones will have a tendency to create a lot of heat on the skin. And so, ask the questions like, what wavelengths and why are we using this wavelength on me? So if someone says, well, we're using, and the wavelengths, if they're all combined into one, it's not my personal go-to or favorite, because, for example, if I want to kill acne-causing bacteria, I'll use my 415, and then I would use, let's say, my 633 nanometer for collagen and scarring, and then I would use my, near infrared for anti-inflammatory. But if one LED is what we call a RGB, which means it could do all the different wavelengths at the same time, or if everything's on at the same time, it's sort of like if we were all having this conversation at the same time, and the results just aren't as phenomenal, which is why, you would want to try to do one thing at a time. So specifically for me, the question would be, well, if you have multiple wavelengths, are they all on at the same time, or are they individually used? And that would be a good indicator.
I mean, it's quite overwhelming, I guess, for the cells to have everything coming at them all at once, and so they can't communicate that information that's required. Yeah,
exactly.
Everybody who's watching, if you've got some questions, pop them in the comments below. I'm just going to have a look and see. Everyone's popped in to say hello and good morning. Yay, it's great to see you all here. So if you've got questions for LED for Jennifer, make sure you pop them in the comments, because I'll be checking and coming back to them as well. But one thing I wanted to have a chat about is that in our line of work, we see a lot of women that have the same skin concerns and the pressures to conform. And I'm finding women are just starting younger and younger in this pursuit of beauty that's almost unattainable.
Yes.
I guess you have the honor of caring for some of the most famous faces, and you are so trusted because of your experience and knowledge. So Oprah Winfrey is one of your clients, and the beautiful Michelle Obama. They trust you and are your biggest raving fans. But I guess, can you share a little bit about these women? And I am sure that they would have the same concerns as us, that they would wake up with a pimple or have puffy eyes right before some important event. Are they just like us? And what priority do they place on their skincare?
I would say that everyone is just like us, from any celebrity to us, right? We all want to age gracefully, so to speak. I would say that we still have that minor pimple that will pop up here and there, but I would say that the key is consistency. So when I take on a new client, the first thing we do is we do a skin strategy. And then the skin strategy I will develop over the first 6 months. And then within 6 months, I say, within 6 months, if you're not happy with the results, then I'll go with you and we'll all get Botox or we'll all get injections, which has not happened yet, might I add. But at the end of the day, I think it's okay to ask those questions. And I think that we really have to start with the basics, which is, what is your lifestyle like? Are you eating healthily? Are you drinking enough water? Are you taking your omegas? Are you taking your collagen supplements? And so on and so forth. And then, I did see a question pop up about LED and dermal rolling. And yes, Lisa, you can do that. But it's all about the skin strategy. So we'll start with the basics, and then as we grow, we'll add the dermal needling and we'll add different elements to the skincare. But I think that when people begin to have very specific strategies on their skin, from the home aspect of it and then coming in for treatment, when they see the results, I find women will be more keen on using their products more regularly. And they'll come in more regularly into the treatment room as well, because they're seeing results.
Something's
and so
really
I always, and I think that's the biggest thing, is I think that we we forget that sometimes it'll take 21 to 40 some odd days to really start seeing the benefits to our efforts. So sometimes we'll be like, I mean, listen, I was at this huge gala over the weekend, and I mean, I'm proud to be aging, but I will be 45 in October. And, you know, I did see some young chickens out there that were like barely in their early 20s. And you see them and you're like, wow, you know, and it's okay to have that moment of, and then you question, should I? And then I'm like, no, I'm fine. And, you know, but so it's okay that but as women, I think we need to lift each other up.
Absolutely.
And as we lift each other up, we realize, oh yeah, right. That's true. I had a moment of insanity. I'm okay now. But I tell women, if you really want to have something done to your skin, no matter how invasive or non-invasive it is, I always say, start from square one. Healthy skin is in. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're eating healthily and you're doing everything right, and then you're still wanting to have something done, well, at least your skin is healthy and it's going to respond better and your results will be better. But you can't just do that and then not take care of the rest. And so I really, you know, I'm very fortunate to say that I would say 98% of my clients, celebrities and others, are completely 100% natural.
Yeah, that's
So
I'm also natural.
I find it very encouraging.
And that's one of the things that we chatted about a few times back at the Dermavisual Symposium in January, that I loved your philosophy on the, it was more like the privilege of aging. So yeah, can you share a little bit more about your ideas on that? Because that's something that I'm all for. I'm all for a little something to help us, you know, where we need to.
Yep. Well, I feel that we are in a very weird time of life. It's sort of like we're living in this dysfunctional world. And we feel like we have to fit into this dysfunction when it's not us, it's the world. Like, and when I say the world, I'm talking social media, Instagram, photo shoots. Like, it's just become completely out of control. And so what happens is the day we have a bad hair day, we think it's the end of the world because we're comparing to something that's completely unattainable. And we're forgetting that we are aging, and how many women don't get to age? How many women die from cancer, accidents, childbirth, so on? And there's so many different things. And so we tend to view the young population as so beautiful and vibrant. But you know what? We were them once. Now these baby brains are fully developed and we're strong, confident women. And that's what we should embrace and be like, you know what? I'm 44 and I look good. And this is a good thing. Right? And then also, I'm going to eat properly. I'm going to keep myself moving because that's vital for women. We need to be lifting things, not just exercising, but, you know, muscle mass. And there's so many things we can be doing. So it's a privilege. So I feel that if you wake up in the morning with the attitude of being like, look at me, I'm here today. It's going to be a great day, even when it's not a great day. And it's not about comparing ourselves to other women out there. And I find that that's the biggest challenge in today's world because of social media. And there's good and there's bad to that. So let's try to take the social media and change the conversation, which is why I never use for me, the AA word is like taboo because you cannot AA. You can't anti-age. We're all going to age.
It's so true. It's so true. It's such a hype sales word. And that's one thing I love about your Instagram and your social media is that it's not about the filtered faces. And the same, like, I don't put any filters up there because this is real. And we have created such a society where we've kind of blurred the lines of what is reality and what is real skin. And it makes it a bit difficult as a skin therapist to try and create skin that looks like something that's been photoshopped because it's not going to happen.
And we all have pores and we all have redness. And so when people are making these, you know, and it's sort of like, but that's not your real you. Right?
That's right.
And then
that's right.
So it's what are you putting out there? And so I feel that if we're able, when we did our photo shoot in Finland back in November, I did it 100% raw. So the photo shoots, no makeup, no hair done, just like today, just kind of me. And I was very proud about that. And so when one of those pictures was put into Vanity Fair just recently, I was so excited because I thought to myself, wow, who would have thought I would have done a photo shoot at 44, makeup free, hair not done, and it ends up in Vanity Fair. So there is the, you know, it's possible, it's attainable.
And that's such a testament to LED and what that's done for your skin. Absolutely, absolutely. Jennifer, you are so passionate about sustainable living. Everything you buy is local, your clothing, your food. And I even noticed on your Instagram, your daughter's mattress, she's moving out of home. So even that is sustainable and about the long term. So I've got 2 of your LED devices, like I said. One Max I bought 7 or 8 years ago, and it is still in pristine condition. So the equipment you create is about lasting. But can you share your thoughts on creating like sustainable skincare practices and skincare products that that do respect our environment as well? Because I know that that's something you're really, really passionate about.
It's so important. I feel that what happens is a lot of people lose sight of that. So we have a tendency to think about everything else in the world, but then we do other things to ourselves, or, you know, everything that you're using on your skin. If you're cleansing and you're using water, ends up in the sewage system. It ends up in our oceans, in our lakes, in our rivers. Even when we created Max back in 2003, I mean, think about it. This is way before being green was cool. And we were against throwawaysm. And that was what we had said back then. And so we created Max to live a lifetime. And so skincare wise, I think that we have to be much more, careful about what ingredients we're using in our products. It's not just about natural as well. I think there's a big discussion we could have in another time in regards to natural ingredients, because sometimes there's that fine line between natural and synthetic. And sometimes the synthetic version could be cleaner for the environment and safer than something natural. I think that there's a lot of gray zones there. But I always think, like, if I'm going to put this in the water and I'm going to kill some fish and I'm going to, why would we do that? And so I think that we all need to take a step back and really start to understand what's in our ingredients, what's in our products. And that's from everything, right? From makeup to perfume to everything. And at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not perfect. I mean, I really do try very, very hard, as much as I can. If I'm in a specific country, I only buy if it's clothes that's made in that specific country. So I'll look for young, cool designers that are in that country, that are paying people in your country making the clothes. And it's also about the whole footprint, right? So even ingredients and products. So for example, when we create something in Montreal, we work with all local people. So Max, everything is made in Montreal. Our boxes are for our skincare line. Everything's made in Montreal as well. And so it excites me to think that I'm not only being cautious and thinking about the future, because one day, you know, my kids will have kids and those kids will have kids, and right? And so we've got to think of the future. And so I don't think I have a right to pollute today's world on Earth Day, because in Montreal we're still Sunday, and not be thoughtful for the future. And so everything I do, I try to think about it. And honestly, I'm going to be very honest with you. I work with only companies here in Montreal, from my jewelry, whether it's my jewelry from Xand or anything else that is also sustainable and what we call slow fashion. And you know, so, but it's a lot harder because, you know, even the boxes, everything costs more. But I think in the long run, if we all made that effort, it would make a huge impact on the world.
Absolutely. And I feel like with skincare formulations and ingredients, our plug hole in the drain in the sink deserves better than some of the things that are getting washed down there. So
and it's scary, because even if we just look at all the endocrine disruptors, right, all the hormonal imbalances that can be caused by products. When I first start with someone and I say to them, all of the products that you're using, stop for 2 weeks and do nothing, and just that starts to solve the problem, it makes you think, right? That's one of my biggest things in treating skins here at Skintifics, is that sometimes we're our own worst enemy. And I often prefer, if clients come to me and they're almost sorry, I'm sorry, I don't use much skincare. It's almost better, because at least you're not doing the wrong thing for your skin and creating that. I think, it's so. Brooke has a question. And she was asking about Max and hydration. And so when we talk about LED and hydration, what we say is that because if the LED is emitted on very dry skin that is just, and I'm going to exaggerate, but really flaky, the light will have a tendency to bounce and reflect away, and there's less absorption. So that's why we always like to have the skin prepped before using any LED treatments.
So then the skin can then absorb and use those UV rays.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Fantastic. Let's just check if we have any more questions, because I'd love to wrap up. It's Sunday night for you in Montreal, and I have so much respect and gratitude for the time that you've spent with us.
I wore my tracksuit, so we're good.
Yes, I love it. We're all about, we don't care what you wear as long as it's healthy skin.
Awesome.
Yeah. So when you're here in August, you're hoping to come to Australia in August. So I would love it and invite you into the clinic, because I would love to give you a Skintifics facial. And, you know, I might be able to show you a trick or two that you'll be able to take back for Oprah.
That would be amazing. And we know the thing that would be great would be to have a meet and greet and have some of your clients come in.
Absolutely. I would love that. And they would love that. So
a power chat on skin.
Fantastic. That would be amazing. We'll definitely make sure that happens when you're here in August. What I do want to offer is everybody who's joined us today and anybody who's watching the recording, because I know this is live and we're going to save this, for anybody who's watched this and would like to try LED, what I'm going to offer is anybody who comes into Skintifics for a level 2 facial, I'm going to give you a complimentary upgrade to add LED into your treatment so that you can experience it and see exactly what this does for your skin and the brightness, the glow, and the health that is imparted into your skin as a part of LED. So that's at the value of $55 added on top of your facial. So this week, give us a call at Skintifics.
I'm signing up.
I've got the bed pre-warmed and ready to go for you. So it is a cult favorite treatment here at Skintifics for both our clients and our therapists. So any chance we have, we are on the bed under Max in our lunch breaks, and we love him. So thank you so much for your time, Jennifer, and for this amazing creation of Max, because it has given me one of the most effective tools to create change for my clients. And yeah, thank you for putting that out there into the world.
And I wanted to thank you because it's women like you who really are making a difference in this world in regards to how they view skin. And that point of difference is what's going to change the younger generation on how they view beauty and how they view skin. So thank you for doing your part. And it's between us, one skin at a time, we're gonna save the world. So it's great.
One face at a time, at a time. So
exactly.
Thank you for joining us. And for everybody who's joined us for this live video, thank you. It's been a pleasure to share this with you. If you still have questions, pop them in the comments, because we'll be keeping an eye on what's coming up. And yeah, so we wish you all a wonderful Monday and a beautiful Sunday evening if you're tuning in from Montreal. But Jennifer, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a great start to the week, everyone.
Thank you, and we'll talk again soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.